Okay, today I want to talk to you about the 5 best philosophy books that I've ever read. They're not in any particular order. I'm just going to go through them, what I liked about them, why I think you should read them, why I think they're going to be inspiring to you, and hopefully just point you in the right direction to interesting things that you really should read and interesting things that you're going to love reading. So, without further ado, the first one is The Gay Science by Friedrich Nietzsche. To me, this is my favorite Nietzsche book. Thus Spoke Zarathustra is very close, but Thus Spoke Zarathustra is all written in allegory, so sometimes you don't want to dive for the philosophy. Sometimes you want to just have it right in front of you, and this is the most fun work that Nietzsche's written. I think, at least from what I read, this is my favorite. It's the most uplifting. It's the most inspirational. Some key ideas from it are the eternal recurrence, amor fati, the will to power. His really famous ideas. Real quick, the eternal recurrence is living your life as if you're destined to repeat it, living your life as if you're destined to be in the exact same situation so that you must live it to the fullest. Like, if you don't like where your life is right now, guess what? You're cursed for eternity. Guess what? You're cursed to live the exact same existence time and time again, because time is endless, and there will be a time when the atoms that compose you and the atoms that compose everything else will eventually reoccur, so that you are forced to relive this moment. So make the most of it. And to me, that's a really, really inspiring idea. He also has the idea of amor fati, to love your fate, to love everything that happens to you, because it builds you up stronger. It makes you who you are. It gives you the experiences to go out and conquer the world. Some other ideas that are in there is God is dead. That's a very interesting idea, and it's not really what most people take it as. Most people think it's like a prophetic statement of atheism. Most people think that, like, yes, I don't believe in God. I'm Nietzsche. I'm this. Like, no, that's not what it is. It's the death of the institutions. It's the institutions becoming a system of control, a system of power, instead of a system of enlightenment. It's people being grouped and people being killed through the Inquisition. That's what Nietzsche is hitting at. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about the quelling of thought, the conformity that is created through these institutions, and it's really the warping of values that he was so opposed to. The next book I want to talk about is The Essential Schopenhauer. I've talked about this book a lot recently, but the one underlying theme is the will to live. The will to live, as described by Schopenhauer, is basically our unconscious desires to do things. So for most people, it's, I must get security, I must get wealth, I must get success, I must do all of these things for the sake of continuing my living. And think about it, we all do things unconsciously that aren't really the best things for us, that don't really bring us happiness, that don't really bring us any sort of satisfaction or gratification, but we do them for the sake of keeping on. We do it for the sake of keeping the lights on. We do it for the sake of everything except our satisfaction, everything except our soul. And it's really a sad reality that we put ourselves into, and it's sometimes a fatal move. Sometimes it's too late that we notice this. There's too many people that live and die, and on their deathbeds they are noticing the fact that they never truly lived. And it's a sad reality. And I think Schopenhauer really, really hits at some interesting ideas in this book, and I think Schopenhauer offers a really, really good insight, and he covers lots of topics in this, and this book really made me want to pick up more Schopenhauer, and I think this is a great place for you to find out about another philosopher that you're really going to love. The next one, Ralph Waldo Emerson. I've talked about Emerson so much on this channel. I can't talk about him enough. His ideas are so inspiring. The thing about Emerson is you can read a 10-page essay by Emerson and get the same amount of content that you would get in a 300, 400, 500-page book from any other philosopher. Emerson has a way to say so much with so little, and he does it through poetry. He does it through expression. He does it through making every single word matter, and that's really what I love about Emerson. Some of Emerson's key ideas. Emerson is really the founder of transcendentalism. It's returning to nature, returning to the way that people used to live, returning to a more balanced existence, a more holistic existence. And one of his key ideas is self-reliance. One of his key ideas is the non-permanence of things, and he also really emphasized compensation. Emerson believed that with every action, there is both equal parts good and equal parts bad, and when you can focus on the good, and when you can understand that everything's in flux, everything's changing, that's the way to live. That's the way to go forward. That's the way to be fulfilled in everything that you do. I really love this book, but you don't even need to pick up the book. You can just pick up the essays. They're pretty much all online for free because this was written so long ago. So there's no excuse for you not to read this. Like, I know it's a lot to ask for you to read like a 200-page thing online, but a 10-page thing really isn't that bad. So you literally have no excuse to not go read Emerson. Next one is the Tao Te Ching. You can't really talk about philosophy without talking about the Tao Te Ching or the Tao Te Ching, however you want to say it. There's different translations. People say it different ways. I don't say it right, but it is what it is. The emphasis of this book is how to live. Nobody exactly knows who wrote this. Nobody exactly knows the intention of why this was written, but this has been used as a guide for living a great life since the time it was written in like 500 BC, sometime around that. Maybe I got that way off, but just know this book is very, very old, and there's a reason it's still in print. It's because it's so good. The emphasis of this book is when you live with the Tao, when you live with the way that nature is according, you are perfect. You don't need to seek anything. You don't need anything. You don't need anything outside yourself. And it's really emphasizing the ability to live through non-action, live through not forcing things. Think about something that you do all day that if another person would do, they would be extremely tired. They would be extremely out of it. They would hate their life. And to you, it's recharging. So like for me, maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's going out in nature. Maybe it's training jiu-jitsu. I love all those things. Those are things I could do till the end of time, and I wouldn't even notice it. It wouldn't even bother me. But you know, I'm fine. It's easy. It's recharging. That's the idea. It's living in a manner it's living in a manner without thought. Real quick, because my SIM card's gonna run out of memory, but the last one is the Perennial Philosophy. This philosophy book isn't really a normal philosophy book. It ties together all of the different key religions, all the different key ideas from different cultures, from different backgrounds, and it shows how there's some similarities, there's some common line throughout all the great religions, and I think it's a really, really interesting thing to see that we're not so different. It's interesting. The book talks about asceticism. It talks about how basically every single religion fasts in order to get closer to God, how basically every single religion talks about the attachment to money and how it's not a good thing, about how every single religion has some idea of retribution, some idea of karma, some idea that you should do good for the sake of doing good, not good for the sake of appearing good. And it's just really, really interesting. I really urge you to pick up this book if you want something that's really going to change your perspective. And you know, who better to do that than Aldous Huxley. With that said, I'll link all these books in the description. I can literally see my camera flashing, so any second it's going to turn off. But I hope I did a good job of introducing these books. But just know all of these books I've already talked about in more detail. But today I just want to bring you my top 5 favorite philosophy books I've ever read. Probably the best philosophy books I've ever read. And this list is going to be ever changing. It's going to be ever growing. But stick with me for that process. Love you guys so much. Peace out. I'll catch you next one.